Hello everyone, I am Jess, and in this video I'm going to be talking about how healing my childhood trauma truly helped me explode in my business. When I started my business, I had no idea that my childhood trauma would come up in the way that it did. I thought I was going to start a business, have the time of my life, make a lot of money, and truly just be independent and be my own boss. And of course, this is what happened. But what I wasn't aware of is that the moment I started my business and I started working with people and I started charging a certain amount and I started having relationships with people, coaching people, I started to notice patterns within myself. And I started to realize that unless I didn't heal those patterns, I was gonna get stuck in my business eventually. I was gonna get blocked in how far I could take my business and how much of an impact I could have on the people that I truly wanted to help. So I wrote down 5 things how truly healing my childhood trauma helped me explode in my business. And what I will share with you is I will share with you how I discovered that this was actually a childhood wound within my business and within my life, and how by working through that wound, I was also able to shift things within my business. The first wound that is a very common one, especially for us women, is the wound of people pleasing. I didn't realize that my people pleasing wound, first of all, was existent in the first place, but how it was actually stopping me from growing my business. When you are a chronic people pleaser, which I used to be, you will have a hard time creating boundaries. You will have a hard time saying no. You're gonna make sure that everyone is happy around you, that you don't hurt anyone's feelings, that you literally allow also other people to step over you and to allow them to treat you in a certain way, to make sure that you conform and that they're happy because this is what you have learned. This was a wound of mine that I have learned early on in my childhood as a woman, which again, as I said, very common for the majority of us women. In my business, this would show up by me people pleasing my clients. When they ask for an extension for half the price, I would do it. When they ask for a payment plan of 12 months, even though the program was 2 months, I would do it. When they ask for a free call, I would do it. When they didn't like the whatever program or they were unhappy, I would over deliver from fear and they were gonna hate me or they were gonna reject me or they were gonna say bad things about me or they were not gonna pay me. I would literally people please so many of my clients because I was so scared how they were gonna see me otherwise, or they weren't gonna like me, they weren't gonna continue with me, they weren't gonna pay me, they were gonna say bad things about me on the internet. All of those fears were coming up, and so I allowed them to step over me. And again, this has nothing to do with my clients. It had everything to do with me as a business owner, especially if it's a business that, like it was for me, it was my sole business. It was everything for me. I was so passionate about what I was doing, what I was teaching. I truly wanted my clients to be successful. And because of that, because it was so important for me, and I gripped onto it so much, and I didn't want to lose the people that said yes to me initially, I didn't realize how much I was hurting myself and my business in the process. I had a very dysregulated nervous system at that time. So my anxiety was through the roof when I received, for example, a client complaint or a failed payment, notification. All of those things would make everything even worse. And so truly what I had to do is I had to look at my childhood wound, and I had to also learn that business will be like that. You will have people you're not gonna pay, who will not respect your boundaries, who will try to get the last bits out of you. And I had to learn that it had nothing to do with me as long as I delivered a service that was good. I do know objectively it was a good service, but I also had to then look at myself and ask myself, well, there will be people who will step over your boundaries. There will be people who just simply do not deserve to be part of your business. And you have to be okay with concentrating only on the ones that want to be there. It doesn't mean that you have to disrespect them or treat them wrongly, but you can set boundaries and you don't need to comply to their needs and to what they want from you. In terms of my childhood wound, it really helped me look back and look at the patterns that developed as a child and as a young adult and the things that I have learned about myself. And for example, and this has nothing to do with my mom. My mom is wonderful, but of course, we all do things that, later have some certain effects on ourselves and our well-being, on our children. And she would always be the one to literally tell me what a good girl I was and that I was so easy to be around with. I'm always kind. I never complain. I always make sure everyone around me is feeling safe. And so I early on learned that this is my superpower. I just put my needs last and make sure that I don't criticize anyone. I don't make anyone feel bad. And by doing that, I didn't realize I was, of course, not only repeating this pattern in my personal life, but also in my business. I have to say, being an entrepreneur has helped me so much in my own personal development journey. I do think there's so much that you gain from being an entrepreneur, even if you decide not to be one anymore, even if you decide to, stop it or change something about your work, you will learn so much about yourself. And I'm so grateful that I've started this journey and it has shown me so many parts about myself that now I can look at and I was able to truly overcome and heal. And by me no longer being a people pleaser, I was able to expand my business, because when you people please, you will have a hard time having a lot more people that want to work with you, because you're going to be wasting your energy on, let's say you have 100 clients and 5 clients don't like your work or have a complaint or are not paying or whatever. People are people. You will always have that, right? And so these 5 people, they're having all of these issues and you using your whole energy onto fixing them, over-delivering, getting on another call, making sure that payment, is split into 10 different payments. Like all of these things, you're wasting your energy on those 5 people. The 95 people, they're still there. And you no longer have room to grow, because here you are coaching those 5 people, over-delivering. The 95 people, that's where the rest of your energy goes. And you have no more energy to grow or to expand or to train another person to get into your program or into business, to help you with your business. Like, you have to really realize that there's only so much energy and time that you have. And you have to be willing to look at, okay, is this worth my time and energy or is it not, right? And there's gonna be moments where you will intuitively know it's not worth it. I'm gonna stop this. And I've had lots and lots of clients like these. And then I had to then reflect back and tell myself I no longer want to attract them. And when I do, I immediately put a no on it and I don't even want to work with them in the first place. And you got to also respect your own boundaries, because your peace is way more important than business success. Your peace and you being able to sleep at night is way more important than business success. So I had to realize that. Who cares if someone who, signed a contract for $3,000 only made one payment out of the $3,000 and now they are gone? Like, who cares if it robs you sleep at night? By you letting go of these situations, you are creating more space for more beautiful things to come into your life, for more aligned clients to come into your life, rather than trying to chase after those who don't value you or your service or your energy in the first place. The second thing that initially truly stopped me from expanding and growing my business is my fear of being seen vulnerable. This was a childhood wound that developed very early on. I had to learn how to put my needs and my emotions to the side sometimes because of my family dynamics. And I was scared if I was gonna be the vulnerable, the hurt one, I wasn't gonna be heard or seen anyways. And there were many situations where that happened. And so very early on, I learned, being vulnerable is not good because it's not gonna get me anywhere. People will judge, people don't want that. I truly do believe now though, that when you lead with vulnerability, you create connection with your community, with the people that want to buy from you, with the people that want to, buy your products or services. But I was really, really scared to show people that I struggle as well and that I'm also just a human being. And I remember this one time, this was, I want to say 9-10 months into my business. And I've already had a solid community of women from all around the world. And up until that point, I was sharp, I was good, I was really the super human. I saw myself as that because I never showed what I was going through. I was never in pain. Nothing ever happened to me up until this point that would show that I'm a human being in that sense. And I remember 10 months in, I've had to go through surgery and it was a very traumatic thing because it didn't work out. And I remember taking a break in my coaching space, coming back, and you could still see I was swollen and I didn't look great. I was tired. I was in pain. And I showed up, and my clients, for the first time, they told me that I'm a human being too, and that they love me, and that they see me, and it's okay if I'm not 100%. I started crying because I was so grateful that I created this space where even me, as the leader, the coach, the mentor, could also show a vulnerable side. Now, I'm not saying you as a business owner should do it all the time, because I think that happened maybe twice in my entire career that I showed that side of myself. But I also know that when I do, it shows my people that it's okay. Actually is more of a strength rather than a weakness to show that you're vulnerable. And so I had to train myself to share things that were going on or happened in the past that affected me in a certain way, that, changed me in a certain way, that made me see the world in a certain way. But by me healing that wound, that it's okay to be vulnerable and people are not going to reject you. The right people are going to stay. The right people are going to see. The right people are going to want to be around you. That's truly made the biggest change for me, because in a world like today where it's all about productivity and hustle and doing more and all of that kind of stuff, and AI taking over now, or AI, becoming very big. I don't want to say taking over, but eventually it might. It's really coming back to what makes us human beings. And as human beings, we are vulnerable. We have emotions. We have those things that are showing up even if we can't control it. Now, I do think there is a certain level of showing up despite what's going on. And what I mean with that is, and this used to happen to me, I would have days where I would be emotional and I would not show up because I was like, oh, I have to be high energy, perfect, positive to show up for my business. And that would hold me back from my business growth. I'm not saying that you have to be positive, happy, all of these things every day to be able to show up for your business. And if you struggle with showing up for your business when you have a bad day, you have to detach yourself from your business. Because oftentimes, especially as fresh business owners, you and your business are one, but it's not true. You are separate from your business. You are creating this entity. You're creating something outside of you. And so you can still be going through something that's maybe more difficult or tough or it's harder, but you can still show up for the people that trust in you, that need your message, that need your support right now. And so that has really allowed me to detach myself from my business. And I'm not perfect either. I still have days where my emotions take over and I'm emotional, I'm angry, I'm all of these things, but I also have learned how to let these emotions flow through me and not make them mean anything about me. I think that is a really important piece, to detach yourself also from your business emotionally as much as you can. The next thing that I healed within myself that truly helped me with my business as well is a childhood wound that I didn't realize for a long time I had. I'm gonna give you a scenario. My ex-partner or now partner, it doesn't matter, whoever it was in my life, when I felt their energy was off, something was wrong, they were sad, angry, whatever, I would make it about myself and I would immediately want to fix their mood. And so every time I would feel something was off with people in my life, I would feel like I was responsible to fix it. Either way, I felt like it was my fault or I was responsible to fix them and their energy. This wound translated onto my business. I would, whenever a client was unhappy, and it didn't even have to be unhappy with my service, it was the client has a life, they're going through things, and there's gonna be days where they will not be happy. I would literally feel like I'm getting a heart attack when a client would message me that they're unhappy, they're struggling, they're this, they're that. I would immediately go into, oh my God, I gotta fix them. Oh my God, I gotta help them. Oh my God, I gotta be the one to show up for them. Or I would be in a Zoom meeting with 20 people and I would feel like one person's energy was off, or they were not listening, or they were doing something else, and I just felt like something was off. Or, I would read their body language and I could feel it, and I would immediately go into making sure in my mind, I was thinking, okay, what can I say now to involve them? I would always go into fixing mode. That is a wound, obviously a childhood wound that I learned early on because of the way that I grew up and my family dynamics. I don't have to go into details. A lot of people have that without actually really knowing that they have that. But again, this wound would translate into my business. And unless I didn't heal that wound, I would go literally nuts. Wanting to fix everyone and everything. I do think, especially if you are a coach, it's very easy to fall into this pattern of wanting to help everyone and feeling responsible for everyone's transformation. What I had to do is I understood that I'm the guide, I'm the coach, I'm the mentor, whatever you want to call it. I give them the tools, I give them the guidelines. I give them the transformational experience, but ultimately it's on them to then apply this work. I cannot force you to show up to a Zoom call, to message me about what's going on in your life. I cannot be the one to want your transformation more than you want it. And so I had to understand the person that chooses my product, my service, wants it more than I want it for them. Because the moment I felt I wanted more than they wanted, I can't be the one that is responsible for your transformation. Because a lot of the clients that I had were on the other side of the world. They were, let's say I was in Germany and they were in Los Angeles. I can't fly over and knock out your door and tell you to work out. I can't be the one to do that. And so I had to learn to be okay with some people not getting the transformation that they signed up for. But also, there was a certain extent, I do think you have to take responsibility and look at your process and the things that you've done. But at the same time, if you have a lot of people who get transformations, yes, you can take the feedback of these people, but you also have to look at those habits or patterns that they keep repeating and are not willing to break. And so this really helped me not make it mean anything about myself and my service. Every business will have a certain amount of people who are not going to be happy or going to have a complaint. I have not seen a single business where everyone is happy, especially in a business that is very subjective. If it's like weight loss transformation or coaching or, any type of service, or product, like you could buy one book and 80% of people love the book, but when you look at the reviews, you always have a 1-star or 2-star rating of people that just didn't enjoy it or it didn't reflect with their current situation, and that is fine. So I had to make peace with that too, and that really, really, really helped me. So the next wound that I realized was a money wound, and it was very much connected to the good girl syndrome, to being scared to charge more, to not feeling worthy to charge more, to feeling guilty for charging more because who am I to charge that much? I was even in my mind, I would be on a discovery call, sales call, whatever you want to call it, with a person who was interested in my program. And as they were speaking, I was already thinking in my mind, I don't think they're going to have the money to invest. I don't think they will be able to invest. And then they were talking about money problems themselves. And I was like, oh my God, maybe I should lower my price because they're not going to be able to invest this money. And in that moment, my energy shifted, my self-worth lowered. And first of all, how unfair is it to the person sitting on the other side for me to judge how much money they have? Not cool, right? And at the same time, even if they don't, why should I lower my service and what I am worth? Because I want to make sure that they're able to afford that. Yes, you can definitely help a client if you feel like they're the perfect fit and they really want this and you're willing to find some way to help them with it. I've done it a million times and I still will because I want to help people genuinely. But there will come a point where you also have to learn that your worth is amazing and that people don't only pay for a program, they pay for a transformation, they pay for your energy, they want to be surrounded by who you've become through all of this hard work. Again, it doesn't matter what it is that you're doing, but the amount of knowledge you have that you've gathered over years, think about it this way. The client will take probably more years than you to get there on their own. And you are giving them a package of all your knowledge that maybe you needed 10 years to learn about in a package that you charge $1,000 for, whereas you might have spent $90,000 on learning all of this. I'm making these numbers up, but just to give you context, like you deserve to price what you think you are worth. And this is something that I really, really had a hard time accepting, learning because of course, money wounds that I had, but also because I didn't want to be seen as a girl that had never had, like that always wants more, or a girl that wants all of these things and is, showing off. Like I never wanted to be that, but also I had to realize that itself was a wound. Why can't I show off? Why can't I show the world how hard I worked for this? It's all so societally created for us women that we shouldn't be this way, or other people are going to envy us, or women have to be humble. All of this stuff doesn't exist. It was created by society to keep us small. And so I had to look at my wounds and, uncover them step by step. It's like an onion. I was peeling one layer off after another to look at deeper and deeper and deeper roots that were truly holding me back from achieving the success that I wanted, of getting to the potential that I truly had within me. And I couldn't get there because that onion was huge and I wasn't yet peeling the layers off until I finally took the courage to look at that. And I see this good girl syndrome with so many of us, especially entrepreneurs, who can do so much more, but are so stuck in their minds, so scared to share their message boldly because of the society that has made us believe certain things about who we should be as women. And then, of course, lastly, I want to even say one of the number one childhood wounds is putting others' needs above your own. I remember there was a time in my business, I was so invested in my clients that I would dream about them. I would worry about them. When they wouldn't reply for a week, I would go into worst case scenarios. When someone wouldn't show up for a call, I would be like, oh my God, are they okay? I would have all of these worries and things that would literally consume my personal life. Because I just care. I care so much about people and the people that are in my life. And I also had to realize, in order for me to grow and expand my business, yes, you can care about people, but there is a certain limit because your well-being ultimately comes first. If you are not in a good place, these people will not be able to be helped. You got to be good yourself to be able to hold space for them. So I had to learn to not go into panic or overthinking, because if I did, I wasn't able to show up for all the other clients that were there and that needed my support, my help. And so I remember there were many moments in the beginning of my business that I really had to look at that and work through those triggers. And it's so crazy because I'm saying this to you right now and it feels so far away. It feels so far away that I did that. I'm getting emotional here because it used to consume me. There was a point where I said to myself, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can care of so many clients because it was so heavy. And I really was so invested in their lives. And I still am, don't get me wrong, but there is an energetic boundary I have built and a time boundary that I know I always fill my cup up first, and I only give as much as I am capable of giving. Of course, I didn't talk in this video about scaling and hiring someone to help you with it. I mean, it's all self-explanatory, but ultimately as a business owner, you are always the driving force. You're the one who started this. You are the one who creates your success, and it always starts with you, your decisions, how you show up. Because even if you hire a team member and you still have your wounds, you're gonna either way project it onto your team member will project it onto you without you knowing. It's all going to be a big mess. Trust me, I've been there. I know in order for you to have a healthy, successful, fun, enjoyable business where you don't burn out, you have to do the inner work. If you don't, your patterns, your subconscious beliefs, your wounds that you haven't healed will hold you back from your potential and from what you can create on this earth. Trust me, I've been there. I wish I would have known about this when I started my business. I didn't. I had to work through it on my own until I hired my own coach to help me with that. But if you right now are struggling with your business, if you feel stuck, just know it's all a process. And you might need a moment to take a step back and look at yourself first to heal all of that so that you can explode and expand your business how you want it to be. Let me know if this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sending you so much love, and until the next time. Bye-bye.